This meeting is being recorded.
Okay.
We do have 5 now,
Okay.
Lisa.
Okay, well, it's
just over the
just-
starting line.
we have a quorum. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start then. My name is Lisa Hurt, and I am going to lead this meeting today. Welcome, everyone, and good evening. Thank you for participating in our remote and regular monthly meeting of our Park Advisory Board. We will do our best to facilitate a smooth meeting with public participation and ask that everyone will be patient as we navigate the electronic platform. We have 2 formats for participation, the Zoom web application as well as the teleconference. Before we begin, I want to review some guidelines and general instructions for the meeting. Please silence your other communication devices such as your cell phone or desk phone. This will ensure that we are not hearing any feedback or causing interruption during the meeting. During the meeting, all participants on Zoom, except for board members and county staff, will be placed on mute by the host. That means that you will not be able to mute or unmute your lines manually. The chair will announce opportunities for public comment, which are included in the meeting agenda. For those on Zoom, if you would like to make a public comment, please click on the raise hand feature to signal that you would like to comment. Your sound will be unmuted, and the internet participant should announce their first and last name before speaking. The participant will be called upon to speak at the appropriate time. For those calling and using a phone line only, if you would like to make a public comment, please dial *9 on your keypad to signal that you would like to comment. The last 4 digits on the call-in number will be announced. And call-in participants should announce their first and last name before speaking. The participant will be called upon to speak at the appropriate time. Please note, you can hang up or leave the Zoom meeting at any time. So, introductions. So would everyone like to introduce themselves? My name is Lisa Hurd. I'm with the North Kitsap Park Advisory Board.
John Pearson, Central Kitsap Park Advisory Board.
Nancy Whitaker, Central Kitsap Park Advisory Board.
Larry Walker, South Kitsap Park Advisory Board.
Amy Lawrence, Central Kitsap.
Is that it?
We also have Joanne Clark with us via telephone, South Kitsap. Joanne, if you're trying to talk, you're still on mute from our view.
Okay, I think she's going to stay muted.
Okay.
Okay. Is that it? Alex, would you like
to? That's it for board members. That's correct.
Okay. All right. So we're on the adoption of the October 19 minutes. Are there, I have one correction to make, and that is under Beverly Parsons, Hansville resident. She was had some 2 actions by Kitsap Environmental. It says council, but it's Kitsap Environmental Coalition. So it's just one typo. If there's any other corrections, please state them now. If not, we will move on to number 3. Okay, this is our public comment period. If there's any public comments to be made, now is your chance. No, nothing. Oh, wait. Oh, I see a hand. Beverly Parsons.
I'm Beverly Parsons from Hansville, and I'm also involved in the Kitsap Environmental Coalition, as you know, and I just wanted to thank Alex and Aaron Nix for having come to a meeting that we had yesterday, and board member Lisa Hurt, to talk about some of the issues around the PROS plan and the comp plan. And I just wanted to express our appreciation for that, and also to invite any of the Park Advisory Board meeting members to attend any of our meetings. And if you'd like to get on our mailing list so that you know when we're having our meetings, you can send an email to info@kitsappenvironmentalcoalition.org, and we'll be happy to put you on our mailing list so you can keep up on what we're up to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Beverly. Any other public comment? Doesn't look like we have any other public comment people. Okay, so we'll move on to our next part of the agenda, which is 2023 chair and vice chair nominations.
Ms. Chair, prior to jumping into this, if I could insert a quick item, if it's okay. I do have one brand new staff member with us today that I would like to do an introduction for to the advisory board members who are here. And once we kind of get through a round of introductions and he can talk about his experience, his background, and et cetera, you have any questions for him, we'll let him go and he can get back to dinner and family stuff. But I wanted to introduce Matt Oxford, who is with us. He is our new capital projects planner for Kitsap County Parks. He was hired a few months ago, but just began with us on November 14th, if I have the day correct. So with us just over a month. Super excited to have him here. He comes from Southern California, relocated with his family for previously working for the city of Laguna Beach, as well as a ton of other background and experience. And with that, I'll have Matt give a little bit of an update, but he'll be managing our capital program for the Parks Department, really working hand in hand with Aaron Nix, our planner, and the two of them really have a lot of sync and overlap in the projects and the work that they will do for the county. So, Matt.
Thank you, Alex. Good evening, Parks Advisory Board members. My name is Matt Oxford. It's a pleasure to join you guys up here in Kitsap County. As Alex mentioned, I just relocated here from Southern California. I have an undergraduate degree in architecture. I have been working predominantly in civil engineering for the past 12 years in land development, residential land development, from condominium projects, single family home projects, commercial projects. So extensive background in development and all aspects of land development, as well as surveying. A couple, key projects that I worked on at Laguna Beach, we actually won APWA awards. And for those of you that aren't familiar with APWA, it's the American Public Works Association. So there were two projects that I completed in my time at Laguna where we won, awards for those projects. I am excited to be here at Kitsap, and I look forward to delivering some successful projects for the county. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Nice to meet you and welcome aboard. Okay. All right, so on to chair and vice chair nominations. And what does that look like, Alex?
Yeah, so I can start off the conversation here. In the past couple years, we were a little bit behind the timeline as an advisory board in terms of making nominations and deciding on who was going to take the responsibility of chair and vice chair. In past years, this was done by forming a nomination committee in advance of actually making nominations of advisory board members to fill these two positions. Put it on the agenda for today so that the board, to initiate the board to start having that conversation to figure out how they want to fill these two positions as we are bracing ourselves for a flip of the calendar year into 2023. And, the board may decide to move forward tonight and make nominations. You may decide to reform a nomination committee and come back in January with nominations to bring forth for voting. I think either path is forward. I think what we want to avoid, if we can, is prolonging the nominations as far as we did into the spring last year. And some of that, we did have some challenges with quorums at meetings in the springtime. So, I mean, no blame by any means, but wanted to start the conversation this year a little earlier. So with that, we'll kind of leave it to the board to have a discussion as to how you would like to move this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Any comments from the board members?
Yeah, I have a question. This is Linda. Alex, I know last time the part of the board bylaws is that for people who had served in the previous 2 years weren't eligible. Can you review that for us and what the back history of the board leadership has been so that we know who's eligible and who's not eligible? Because I know I have a tendency to like someone to lead who's been more experienced, but last time I, inadvertently nominated some people who turns out wasn't eligible, but I did not know that.
Sure. I don't have those specifics off the top of my head, but I can, in the background, I can pull that document up real quick while the board is chatting.
So Linda, what kind of experience are you looking for? It seems like this is just a position of running the meeting. As a chairperson, it seems like it's pretty straightforward. So, to get experience being the co-chair, it's really straightforward in my mind what's involved. So I'm not sure why you're looking for more experience.
I just think that sometimes that the people who have been on here for a while, especially there has been a lot of turnover internally within the department, and we have some long running members of the committee. And I have, found in my history, sometimes people end up being being called on to be a spokesperson for the board based on the fact that they were, maybe a chair or vice chair. So that was one of the issues that I had, but I wasn't sure. My memory is that there was a 2-year window, Alex.
Yeah, I just took a look. The bylaws state that an individual cannot hold one of the 2 chair seats for longer than 2 back-to-back 1-year terms. And then after that period, that individual needs to take a 4-year hiatus from holding that position until they become eligible again. So there's a 4-year break in there. And for this year, Joanne Clark is chair, Lisa is vice chair for the first year for both of them. So they are eligible to continue those positions if desired. Prior to this, John Pearson was chair. And John, I'm not sure how long you held the position because it extends in pre my employment, nor do I have a recollection of who was in the other positions. If we were to look at that 4-year time span, maybe you can help fill in the gaps.
So I had a 2-year term before Joanne, and so I'd be ineligible for another one. Joanne's eligible for another year, of course, and the only other one I can think of as far as, he knows the train's coming down the track. Larry is eligible. He was.
That would be mandatory there, Pigpen. If there's a 4-year hiatus from the time that my reign of terror is over, I've only done 3 years out of the seat of power.
Okay.
So,
Well, then almost anybody else would be eligible.
right, because I think the rest of us, except for Joanne, are newer. And I don't know if Joanne, if you're still interested, and Lisa as well, because you were both fit for this year.
Yeah, I'll stay on as vice chair or go to or be the chair. I'm good with either. Willing to be that.
I'm willing to stay as well.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if others are interested. It seems, is there anybody else that's interested in being in either the chair or the vice chair position? So I'd suggest that maybe we stay the course this year. So I'd nominate Joanne as chair and Lisa as vice chair.
I will second that motion.
Excellent. Yeah, the motion
Thank
is
you.
moved. Thank you.
I'm gonna mute again. Sorry.
Okay, well, we've taken care of that then, I guess, right, Alex?
I think we need to vote.
Oh, the vote. You're muted.
Sorry. There's been a motion and a second, so now you can do deliberations on the motion, or you can go right into vote.
Okay.
Lisa, do you have any preference of swapping jobs?
Of
Or
what? Sorry, somebody needs to mute their background noise. Was that you, Nancy?
It's me. It's me.
Joanne?
Yeah, I'm having trouble with this, so let me try to unmute it.
So my question was, Lisa, did you want to, you've served as second chair. Do you want to reverse roles with Joanne, or,
If she's willing to stay on as chair, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with being the vice chair. I don't want to take anyone's position. So, but I'm just saying I'm willing and able to be vice chair or chair. I'm good with either.
so Alex, if Lisa stays on as vice chair for 2 years, then is she eligible to move to chair, or does she have to go off?
Oh, yes, she's eligible. How do you think I got there?
Okay,
Okay.
checking to see what the rules were.
Okay. So, any more deliberation questions? No? Shall we vote then, everyone? Okay, let's do a vote. So for Joanne for chair, let's vote. I vote yay. 2, 3, 4. Looks like we have a majority. And for me, for co-chair, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like we have it. Well, that's great. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So the next part of our agenda is our work plan discussion.
So included in the agenda packet was a copy of the current work plan. The board actually put this together. This was drafted in 2021 and carried forward in 2022. And so again, as we flip the calendar year here, we're looking for an updated work plan from the advisory board, or at least beginning a discussion on it, and we can certainly bring it back with some edits in January if the board wishes. It's on page 12 of 18 in the packet, and if it's helpful, I could share my screen. Otherwise, not sure how you want to manage the conversation.
Yeah, go ahead and share your screen and then we can all be on the same page.
Okay, I'll do that. Give me just a moment. So there are 6 bullet points that make up the various areas of the work plan. The park code is looking at revising our park code, which currently was last updated in the 70s. It is 50 years old and definitely needs some revision. We have other department level operations and policies especially specific to our event program that need updating. These were targeted as areas of improvement and involvement with the board in the past 2 years. And in all honesty, 2 items the department did not get to. But have intentions to, hopefully, now that we are almost fully staffed, to have the capacity to begin some work on. Youth engagement is on here for a wide variety of interest levels, and this honestly was carried forward from even previous to 21, dated at least back into 2020, if not further. The Port Gamble Master Plan was on here, and this was basically recognizing the advisory board's involvement in the process that lasted nearly 2 years. This one, in all respects, could come off at this point. We had the park board bylaws, the ones we just talked about. Those are not widely out of date, but likely due for a review and an update. And then the last one that is coming, we put this on here at least in 2021 in preparation for knowing that the revision to the pros plan was due in our future, and that future is now. We'll be working on an update to the 2023 pros plan. And because of that, I would highly recommend keeping this one before you on your work plan. So that's kind of a brief update of those 6 items, and you may have other items that are of interest to the board to add, or items on here that may fall off. So I'll let you either ask me questions or begin your conversation.
Linda has her hand raised, Alex.
I was wondering if my understanding is, one, the master plan is now called a framework, but that's going to be folded in with the pros plan. So would we want to have that kind of be a secondary bullet and called Port Gamble framework, and have that be a secondary bullet under the pros plan?
We certainly could. Yeah, that would be.
That was just my understanding of the plan process now, unless I.
No, that's accurate. The recommendations that are called out in the framework will be evaluated as part of the pros plan update. And specifics like the landscape classification plans or landscape classification table that came out of the Port Gamble. We'll be looking at that as it relates to our park classification system, as that then kind of falls underneath the land use table of the comp plan, and it all kind of there's varying layers. But yes, the what is called out in the Port Gamble framework will be evaluated as the pros plan is looked at, so that there is a more comprehensive and system-wide review of its place within our system. So yeah, that would be appropriate. As other master plans and other planning documents will also be a component of the pros plan, like the Coulter Creek master plan that's currently underway.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Is if we should add that as a sub bullet to the pros plan.
Yeah, sure. Those would both be appropriate. I don't know if you want me to call. Amy's got your
Amy.
hand raised.
Yeah,
Lisa,
Amy, and then I have a
sorry.
question as well. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just wondering if, if we establish this as our work plan, then would these be kind of organized as like action areas for the subcommittees, or how? I mean, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I was looking for kind of a way to align some of these with the subcommittees that exist, and it doesn't jump out at me. But is that the idea here?
Yes, and
Okay.
you're right on. That's how we would eventually move this into kind of a more working group with staff representation, leading the efforts, and then working with the subcommittee, and then it would come back to the greater advisory board. So there would be involvement at both levels.
I would just like to personally expand that youth engagement bullet a bit, to not just limit it to high schools, but to other educational groups like community college, and also younger groups, and maybe include an element of like partnership with other entities like GPC that are doing the land labs at the parks and that kind of thing. So it seems pretty narrow what's listed there. So I would be interested in expanding that a little bit.
Excellent.
Yeah, great idea.
Thank you. And I had a question similar to Amy's about the subcommittees, and when are we actually going to meet, and how do we do that, and how do we arrange that, and is there a format for our subcommittees?
Subcommittees are definitely looser because they fall underneath the there are fewer attendees than the quorum. We're not creating a quorum, which means we're not bound by the public meetings rules. So they're a little bit looser in terms of their format. In terms of how we would facilitate these, will in large part be connected with a staff member helping facilitate, say, the update to the park code or a policy, and then pulling the subcommittees together to do a review of whatever that specific policy was, get feedback, take that back for an update to the policy, and eventually bring that kind of quote unquote final policy draft before the overall advisory board for recommendation.
So the subcommittees will actually never meet. We will just be the ones that get the updated park code that you guys would come up with, and then we would just review it and then submit a yay or nay or a revision.
Well, you would meet, but it would be with staff there. Because, I mean, ultimately, staff is doing this work. Staff will be doing the update to the park code with input from the subcommittees. Staff will be drafting the updates to, the various policies with input from the subcommittees.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions on that? I don't see any other hands, but we're still sharing the screen, so I can't see. Okay, it looks good. Okay. So, do you have anything more to add, Alex, or should we move on to the next?
No, so I think I'm just looking for a little bit of direction from the advisory board. Do with the changes that we talked about by expanding the youth engagement item, and then moving the Port Gamble framework bullet point underneath the pros plan, as well as calling out the Coulter Creek plan there too. Does that, and then with the remaining items staying in place, does that solidify the advisory board's desired work plan moving into 23? Or are there other items that may not even be on here represented that are desired to have some additions?
Alex, I had one more question about the planning for the fairgrounds. I know I'd seen an email and responded that, years ago when I was involved through the Public Facilities District, there was, a master plan done for the fairgrounds, but, honestly, that was 20 years ago. But I guess my question is there going to be some planning work on the fairgrounds this year that we ought to have again as a sub bullet, or is that probably more likely a 2024 project?
It depends. So we applied for a planning grant through the Recreation Conservation Office with the state of Washington. And our proposed project for that planning grant was for to do a master planning effort for the Fairgrounds and Events Center. We have not learned the fate of our grant application just yet. If we're successful with the grant, that is a project that we will move forward in 23. If we are unsuccessful in the grant, it is likely a project that will be delayed until 2024. So it's kind of funding based at this point and dependent on the grant, which will dictate the timeline. But the need for that planning effort is a priority for us. We just don't know if it's going to happen in 23 or 24 right now.
So maybe that should be a sub bullet again under the pros plan? Or would that be, or would you just add it later if?
Yeah, we could add it
fruition?
later. Yeah, if we can update this certainly if we know the fate of that project.
I think this is a good list with our additions that we just discussed.
Okay. And for me, it seems like I'll have to think about it. But if you say we're going to come back to it eventually, that's a good thing. We can add to it, possibly.
I think Larry had a question.
Sorry.
Larry, go ahead.
Yeah, just an observation or recommendation. Change from youth engagement to community and youth engagement, and then kitbash the language there that will reflect a broader spectrum of volunteer organizations and stuff we can work with.
I like that. And also what came up last night, Alex, I was curious where it would fit in possibly is the stewards of the parks were wanting to be more represented in the whole process. Is that something that would be added to this list or that would be discussed amongst the Park Advisory Board people, or you folks would decide?
I guess it would need to better understand what the stewards want to be involved with. Because we do engage them with the the various park plans that we have. The stewards in Port Gamble were heavily involved in the framework development there. So we have, I know it's not a parks project, but the Sound to Olympics Trails working group has representation from the North Kitsap Heritage Stewards. And they will be involved in the pros plan as well. That will we'll cast a wide net on that one for input and feedback. I am more than open to add stewardship groups to this. I guess I just need a little bit more on context and what that might look like.
Okay. I'll look into that because I do know that I think it's the North Kitsap Heritage Park are the ones that are more, I think, aggressively looking for more say or more of a voice at the table, maybe is what they're looking for, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what that means specifically.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
But yeah.
I'll try to get more information.
Okay.
Okay.
So what I can do then is we can rework the work if the board is okay with this, can rework the bullet points here, the work plan, and bring it back in January for another touch point. And maybe at that point, there'll be some, thoughts on additions and or changes or something. That's an
Right.
option.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you for that. And so we will move on to our next discussion, which is our special presentation reports by Alex.
All right, so this next one is actually going to be a repeat for some of the board members. This is so a little bit of history. In 2021, the Parks Department was approached by Colby Overholt, who is online with us here today. He was the operating manager for a paintball operation that lived on private land off of Wagga Way outside of the Silverdale area, along with a couple other recreational activities that took place there. There was disc golf, and there was I think putt-putt and a driving range, if I'm not mistaken. The landowners sold the property, which basically left the business operators looking for a new location to relocate to. Colby looked for land to purchase. He contacted us as a Parks Department and owner of quite a bit of acres. We have, over the last couple of years, been in conversation talking about if there's a possible private-public partnership between Kitsap County and Colby to host what is now termed Kitsap Paintball, used to be Northwest Paintball before, on Parks property. This came before the advisory board last year in May, I believe, and again in July. At our July meeting, we went through, well, at both of them, there was question and answer opportunity with Colby. We went through a slideshow presentation at the second meeting, and I actually have that queued up again to walk through if the board would like to kind of, maybe for those who were here at that time can re-engage with the process. And for those who weren't on the board at that time, it might be a good introduction to the proposal. At the end of that meeting, the advisory board voted unanimously to move forward with entertaining a contract between for this private-public partnership opportunity. We have since done that. And in our kind of getting down to the details, had a meeting recently with Commissioner Garrido, since the location of the proposed private-public partnership is in her district. Certainly want to make sure that the commissioner is on board with this. She asked, and Larry was there as well, it was the three of us chatting about this. Commissioner Garrido asked that we take the concept back to the advisory board for another review of the concept, and thus that is the premise and the purpose for this. And I can jump into the slideshow if that will, maybe we'll do that before we get to questions that might help answer some questions.
That'd be great.
Okay. So let me share my screen again real quick. And are you seeing this in the presentation mode?
Yes.
Okay, great. So here is the exact same slide deck that we shared back in July of 2021. There have been some updates, and I'll just kind of talk about those as we go along. We had some questions back in at this time that we have since answered some of those questions. So I'll get to that. Really, that ends up on the last slide here. So quick history, and Colby, I'm going to invite you to please chime in if you have something to add along the way, since this is your business, and you certainly know it a lot better than I do. But Kitsap Paintball is looking at a corner of Square Lake Park for the proposed new destination of the activity. Quick history on Kitsap Paintball, formerly Northwest Paintball, on Wagaway for over 20 years of operation. Colby purchased the business from the previous owner. The landowner is selling their property, and therefore the business, and Colby being the new owner, is looking for a new location. While at Wagaway, they serviced 4,000 to 7,000 visitors annually. This was all done while only open on weekends. So Monday through Friday, the business was basically sat dormant, sat vacant, and then on the weekends is when the operations really took place. So 2 days a week. Most of the users, visitors, are from Kitsap and Jefferson counties, while it does draw in use from outside the area. And the business is premised on being very family friendly and services a wide variety of age groups. The proposed use is approximately an acre for parking, 3 to 5 acres for the quote unquote kind of game areas, or where they would have their activities. This includes the welcome area too, which would be operated out of a Connex box. So there's no proposal to install permanent structures. This is all temporary, no utilities required, et cetera, et cetera. And let's see, the paints within the paintballs are biodegradable. There's been obviously advancement in the materials over the course of the years. Originally, we were looking at a projection of $1,000 per month to the county for the operations on site. And there was a dedication by Colby, by Kitsap Paintball, to conduct or help recruit for volunteer work parties that we would take place in Coulter Creek specifically is kind of where we were looking at, since Square Lake is really now part of that Coulter Creek complex. To give a visual on the specific location, this map on the right-hand side represents in green the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 blocks that make up Square Lake, formerly Square Lake State Park, that transferred to Kitsap County ownership in 2019, 2020. One of those 2 years is when it officially made its arrival into Kitsap County. The area that we had chatted about for the location of the private-public partnership would be within the dashed red line, which lives on the south side of Lake Flora Road. So if you can envision it potentially, Square Lake on Lake Flora Road sits to the far east side of the Coulter Creek complex. In this yellow box here, this is Calvinwood. This is also county property, and then sitting just on the other side of Calvinwood, which I obviously don't have on the map here, is Coulter Creek proper, the kind of official Coulter Creek Heritage Park. We are currently re-engaged with the community through Aaron Nix and our planner to develop or not develop, but to restart the planning efforts that were previously done to create a master plan for Coulter Creek. At that time, the planning efforts, and as we are doing today, we are including Calvinwood as well as the Square Lake properties within that planning effort. So that's just kind of the location. It is the only corner of the park that is kind of severed by Lake Flora Road. This slide here represents the size and location of the paintball operations that used to be on Waga Way, showing the parking and the ticket booth and one of the play areas here, and then kind of the larger wooded play area here. This is a close-up of what the operations looked like. You have one of the play activities here, another one here, the kind of entry location for rules and training, and I believe entrance ticket booth area and parking down here. One of the questions that came up from the Parks Advisory Board after our May meeting that we brought back for the July meeting was an interest in, since everything, the activity is, there are no permanent structures in place, it is all in a sense temporary, that if and when removed, how would the environment bounce back? And so Colby went and took some photos. Colby, I don't recall how long after the operations moved away were the photos taken to kind of show the bounce back. And of course, the photos today would look different because at least another year has gone by. So field area showing kind of regrowth of vegetation, the wooded area, another photo, and then before and after kind of aerial view of the same location. And another slide again, kind of showing here's the footprint of the slide we saw earlier, and then within that footprint, kind of the base layout would be parking coming off of Lake Flora, two smaller play areas, and then the larger wooded field area. And lastly, we put some bullet points together for considerations as the Parks Advisory Board was thinking about this potential partnership and activity taking place in the corner of Square Lake. One of the items on here was the transference agreement with state parks, specifies property can only be used for recreation purposes only. At that time, we had not engaged with state parks to determine whether or not this relationship and paintball would qualify. We have since done that and got in writing a written letter back from state parks indicating that they view this as fits within the definition of recreation, and would leave it to the county to determine whether to move forward with the partnership or not, but basically stating they did not see any conflict with the transference agreement. Let's see, bullet number 2, the proposed location at Square Lake was at that time permitted for selective thinning by the Parks Department, by our very own Arno Bergstrom. And we weren't quite sure, depending on how quickly things move forward, if that would have an impact on the thinning. As we know today, it did not have an impact on the thinning. The thinning at this corner of Square Lake Park is already completed. That was done in 2021. I'm sorry, that corner of the park was done in 2022. The other side of Lake Flora Road was done in 2021. Nonetheless, this, because the thinning is already done, there's really no conflict here any longer. Couple items for certain consideration. We currently don't have a master plan for Square Lake Park, but that is in process as a component of the larger Coulter Creek complex, or at least what I'm calling the complex, to represent the three different parcels. There's Coulter Creek, there's Calvinwood, and then there's Square Lake. And we are looking at those collectively, as was the previous planner who was working on the resource management plan for Coulter back in 2019. And even back then, even though paintball wasn't even a thought process in the thought process at the time for the Parks Department, this same corner of Square Lake was actually identified as a potential for active recreation. So even at that time, there were some thought processes in place that there were some areas within the park that might be usable for different types of activity, knowing that the primary purpose of Coulter and the most of the land there itself is focused on natural resource protection and managing it for that. Let's see, private-public partnerships, which is what this would be, can be a good mechanism to meet community interest without straining local parks departments. I'm just reading this word for word. You can read that too. The point of this is to say that generally the demand coming from the community for different types, varying types of recreation far outpace what local entities, jurisdictions, parks departments, what have you, have the ability to provide based on a lessening of tax dollars that is coming our way. Because of that, there has been a shift in the way that parks departments, in my experience everywhere that I've worked, is kind of migrated towards private-public partnerships as an opportunity to work with an outside organization to meet whatever this level of demand is from the community, while that not being the parks department solely providing for it. It creates a partnership. And so that is, on a previous slide, it showed that, there is a demand in Kitsap County, on weekends alone, servicing 4,000 to 7,000 people over the course of a year. And that's, doing this is certainly not something that the Parks Department has the ability to do, but could we potentially partner with somebody to help meet that demand? Within the pros plan, paintball as an activity is not specifically identified, but, by no means is all activities in the pros plan, everything called out that we do. But there is one item that is important, and that is in our current pros plan, there is an objective in the funding focus element that identifies promoting alternative funding approaches to basically support parks operations in a variety of ways. Private-public partnerships is one of those kind of alternative funding mechanisms. One of the things we have proposed kind of in the details of the agreement, or the high level details of the agreement, is that the money generated from rent or otherwise based on the private-public partnership would come into a special revenue account for the Parks Department to then reinvest into Coulter Creek, the rest of the Coulter Creek complex across the street. It would, in a sense, provide a dedicated funding source for the 1,500-acre park, something we don't have in any of our other parks. At least that is the way that the draft proposal is crafted. And so with that, I will stop sharing my screen. And before we jump into questions, actually invite Colby to introduce himself and may offer any more information that you want, Colby, and then open it up to the advisory board for questions and comment.
Good evening. My name is Colby Orholt. Alex, you did a great job presenting that. Actually, I couldn't have done it better myself. Even that was great. What we're looking for here is land. This proposal has been in the works for actually a few years now. The pictures from the proposal, those about 6 months from time of closure back in March, and those pictures were taken during the summertime. So for time frame wise anyway, everything on site is temporary and non-permanent structures. Alex is still right about that. The only thing that is anything related to a structure is the carports we use for shade and rain. So if it rains, no one gets wet. They're just stationary carports. They don't count as permanent structures according to the county. I already did manage to talk with the administration building in Port Orchard too. I already got any kind of permits they would require from this proposal and stuff, and they were immensely helpful. So all that kind of process is done too, kind of thing. So if you guys have any questions, would love to answer them now though.
Sam has a question. You're muted, Sam. Oh,
can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Oh, perfect. Well, we'll let the paintball talk first, but I'm actually representative of the disc golf course, which we also lost at the Wagaway property. And we are very interested in the same property that the paintball park is interested in. And we will provide a free service to the community. And we can provide a disc golf course that will be open to everyone from increased tourism from outside the county and on top of what we already have. So I just want to keep that open for discussion.
I have a question. Since we've been talking about bathrooms and stuff, Colby, in your proposal, would you have like Johnny cans that you would be responsible for maintaining?
Yes, that is correct. The park also used the Johnny cans or honey buckets in return, and they get cleaned on, by the company who provides them. But we'll have the exact same thing. Yes, they're just.
And you folks would be responsible for that, or would you be having the parks pay for that?
No. Me and Alex already have that inside the agreement. Everything on site is our responsibility, kind of thing. So we will definitely be taking care of all of that kind of stuff for sure. Also in the proposal, we give back a lot. So we do multiple fundraisers throughout the year. The old park did also. I plan on keeping that tradition. We did Red Cross, Toys for Tots. I did inform Alex in the proposal. So I would, each year I would host a fundraiser for the Parks Department. And we already have multiple other businesses on board to help support that actually, and post up at their businesses for the Parks Department as well. So that was actually something proud of, I guess.
Excellent. And I did have that question too, Alex, about the disc golf, because I remember in the framework or the master plan, they kind of didn't get a say and they wanted one. So is there another area for disc golf that might be adequate? you know, again, the special interest we talked about last night, it seems like everybody wants their spot, and yeah, that is something to think about.
Yeah, certainly, Lisa, we get a barrage of requests all the time, and Sam and the West Sound Disc Golf Association has been involved in the planning effort for Coulter Creek to get their idea evaluated as a part of that planning effort. There are a couple other potential areas within the complex that are being looked at, and that, but without that plan being fully vetted, it'll be a component of that. And so that's kind of, I guess, where we're at.
How many acres would disc golf need for a course?
Colby, do you know what? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, Sam.
Yeah, asking disc golf. Sam?
You're muted.
Yeah.
I'm not able to unmute Sam, but I have.
There we
Oh,
go.
there he goes.
Oh.
I got it. So yes, so the chunk of the property there on the Square Lake Lake Florida is 40 acres, and we would actually like to use the full area and put two courses on there that would provide levels for all skill sets from recreational to advanced. We would provide all porta potty and other amenities. That we have checked out 4 properties on Coulter Creek. The best I feel for us would be the area of the south side of Square Lake property. The Square Lake side itself would be good too, but I think would be interfering with other walking trails for other users, which wouldn't be as conducive to disc golf. The other properties recognized as specialized would not be good. It's too thick and flat by the power lines. Calvinwood would be good in section 2, but I think that should be reserved to recreational purposes or for education purposes. So we've looked at quite a bit of stuff. So the best spot would be the south side of Square Lake.
Thanks, Sam.
How many acres is that south side of Square Lake, Alex?
About 37 acres on the south side of Lake Flora Road.
And the paintballing is asking for all of it?
Colby, do you know the approximate footprint of your? I know that the parking lot was 1 acre. The kind of welcome area was with the smaller play areas were 3 to 5, but I don't know the total.
Yeah, in total, we're using the full property combined. There's a 20 acre ish one giant woods ball field, just like there was at the other old paintball park. It's a woods ball park. It's family friendly. People like to go out, explore the woods and everything. So we are using the combined footprint of the property.
Would either of those activities involve any damage to any of the nature, like affecting the trees or other than the paint splatting around and then washing away? But disc golf doesn't require anything other than just throwing frisbees, right? Or what do you guys do?
Correct. We would require no tree removal because it's already been thinned. And so it should be really easy to install, of course. And we just like walking in nature, that's what it's all about, outdoor recreation. So minimal environment damage.
I have a question for Colby, since I was here before. My concern was, you said there's going to be netting around the area, and we had discussed wildlife being able to pass through, and that you would only have one opening, and we had discussed that you could roll up the netting when it's not in use. Have you looked into that, and is it really a feasible thing that you would do? in between events every time so animals are not disrupted in their native area?
Yes, we have looked into that. We actually plan on lowering the entire course netting over the 20 acres or so for the woods ball field down, and it is environmentally friendly. All animals, well, we're going to get for the netting to be down on the ground. They'll just walk right over it. I already got this cleared and everything like that. But yes, it's also in the contract as well. It will be low during non-activity times for wildlife to pass freely through the property.
So lowered, meaning that they're going to walk through it. Is there a chance of them getting their feet caught up in that?
No, I already double checked, triple checked everything, lowered. No animals can get trapped in. It's actually very fine mesh kind of netting. It's only made to stop paintballs and won't do any kind of damage or anything like that to any kind of animals. Just like at the other park, you could walk through the woods and stuff. There were also lowered at times.
Okay, and is there any way that these two activities could coexist, since you're a weekend kind of place and there couldn't be any compromise? I mean, when we first discussed this, you weren't talking about 37 acres, you were talking about 5 acres. And now it's taken the whole 37 acres.
No, sorry, just real quick, the size is the footprint's approximately the same, actually, as what it was prior. It's just that the initial entrance area is smaller, and when you add in the big wooded play area, it gets a little bit bigger.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead,
just for clarification, Kobe, when you were in Wagga Way, how many total acres did you have?
And just for the park alone, right?
Just where you were operating prior to closing down?
It was roughly 20, I would say, with everything including park, I would say 25, I would say 25.
Okay. All right.
Is there any way to see those nets that you're talking about?
The paintball netting, I don't have a picture of them with me on hand, of course, but if you just type in, anyone can type in paintball fields or netting, it would pop up. It's very you can not even see through it. It's very thick, and when it's lowered, everything, you can just walk over it. Really, you can drive over it too. It's very friendly stuff. It's been used throughout, of course, the United States and everything.
So would that be around the whole perimeter of the large what you call the big field area? Would that be on the perimeter of that, or just some of the smaller areas?
It would be on most of the perimeter. We're leaving some of it just open because it's not connected to anything at all, but most of it will be out the perimeter. It's actually a safety thing, so no one goes out of bounds or on someone else's, goes towards the road or anything. You don't want anyone leaving the course, so it's just made for boundary and safety features. So it stops paintballs, but it's also made as a boundary so players don't go off. But it will be out the yes.
Okay. And so in your, I guess, so I just want to understand. So you don't think it would be flexible enough to be sharing the property with another entity that is an outdoor activity, similar but different?
It would be difficult, I think, to combine golf and paintball on the same property. At the other property, disc golf went around paintball, but they also have up to 18 putts and stuff, which means they need a larger capacity kind of thing for what they're doing. Wouldn't it be suitable for both entities to be on the same property? It'd also be very difficult for disc golf course not to be open on a weekend, because if we're doing paintball on the weekend, disc golf will be able to, because of safety reasons, because you have to wear protection, of course, for paintball, face mask and such. So they can.
Well, yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yes. So they wouldn't be allowed on property for a weekend, but that's when most people play disc golf course. There's There's no paintball courses in Kitsap or Jefferson County anymore. And there's multiple disc golf courses throughout, but there's no paintball.
Nancy?
Yeah, I just Googled paintball netting, and it said it was 1 inch square, and the pictures looked like it was quite tall. So how tall would these nets be?
During normal business hours, they're 10 feet tall, is the ones that are going around the woods. They're 10 feet tall. That way, no one can go, nothing shoots over, no one leaves and mistakes it for anything else. It's 10 feet tall, and then when it's lowered, it just lowers right down on a winch system, and then it's flat.
I don't see how 10 feet of 1 inch netting would not be it's not going to be just flat. It's going to be fabric laying there that actually it seems like an animal could get tangled. And it just doesn't seem like it's a small thing.
Yeah.
It takes up, when it's lowered on the ground, it doesn't take up a wide area, so you can just freely step over it. I've never heard of any other parks having issues with netting on the ground with wildlife. And I also did some research on it, and I called the netting company. They haven't had anything get stuck in it. There's no square holes for anything stuck when stepping on it or even around it. It's just, it would be like cloth, solid cloth on the ground kind of thing, but it would lay flat kind of thing. It's very hard to explain, but I guarantee you no animals can hurt themselves or get tangled in any such way.
What about the little creatures, the salamanders and such that would go on the ground? They would be blocked.
No, they could just, any kind of small ones would just go right over it. They could just crawl right over it. They're not going to get stuck either. It's the finest. I can't even say it.
Yeah, I saw it. I looked it up too, what it looked like.
Yeah, it's very fine. Nothing's going to be able to pass through. They'll just walk right over it, just at any other park. Like I said, no one's had any issues with wildlife before.
But it. And you guys would be responsible for doing that every weekend, like Sunday night, somebody would go around and drop all the netting.
Yes, the park is made out of volunteers. It's always been that way for the last 20 years even. People, they come, they referee for volunteer services. They just do it because they like the sport. Mostly we get a lot of people from Bangor base that they like to definitely have their fair share of participating in paint. And the referees are usually responsible for that kind of thing. They would lower it and stuff. The only reason why for weekly activities also, there would be, if there's a private group, something like that, we had Amazon and Microsoft out there before renting the park. Then during the week, if it was like Wednesday, we would raise it back up during the private event hosted by whoever rented, and we would lower it back down at the end of that weekday though.
Seems like it would be less intrusive if you raised it versus lowered it, and then it would all be up in the air, and then animals could go through freely, all animals. You wouldn't have to worry about it.
There is a way to raise it. It's like I said, it's on a winch system. It's not, if it wants to, if we have to raise it, we can also try raising it also. I'm not opposed to trying it, at least. That's definitely a thing that's feasible. I wouldn't have an issue with if it's acceptable and I can personally do it. I can definitely do that. I can put that in my book of putting that as a feasible thing. That way it helps out everyone.
Linda?
I think several of us took his advice and Googled it to look at it online while we were talking. I was wondering if you're really planning to, I mean, it looks quite expensive. Are you really trying to enclose all 37 acres with that? Or are you going to have just the two small fields have that mesh, and the larger 20 acres woods area would not have that mesh enclosure?
So the two smaller fields will also have mesh surrounding. The woods ball 20 acre so course will have, like I said, that's only 10 feet tall, It's very inexpensive when you get 10 feet, and they come in rolls of 300 feet long by 10 feet for that kind of price that you're probably looking at. So it's 300 feet in a straight line. But most of the woods will be enclosed unless it goes somewhere that there's nothing that's ever going to be there kind of thing. There's a downhill property that there's no housing, there's no nothing connected, just like most of the property surrounding it. We might leave that open just with some red surveyor tape or something like that blocking it instead of the netting. But yes, we're definitely paying for all of the netting, but quite a bit goes.
And I don't know if, this board is going to be able to, at tonight's meeting, get into all the details of this, but I wonder if it might be appropriate for Alex and staff to look at the concept of sharing. If there, or maybe there is another location. It does seem, I think that Coulter Creek, that larger park, don't we have almost 1,100 acres or more than that down there? And I can understand that, the more level ground areas that have been thin, proximity to road, and the ability to basically do some fairly inexpensive parking would all be criteria. But I'm wondering if there needs to be another more focused discussion outside of our Parks Board meeting.
Park complex is 1,550 acres. If you include Calvinwood plus Square Lake plus Coulter, it's actually a second largest heritage park in the system.
But a lot of that is sensitive wetlands as well.
No, correct. Not in this corner of the park, though.
No. But
Yeah.
in
Okay.
Coulter Creek area, yeah. As far
That's
as
correct.
moving
It
it.
has an extensive waterway system. That is correct.
Alex, what about the RCA area? Is that something that could coexist with a disc ball kind of thing, or is that not feasible?
No, not really compatible. I don't think. You're talking about the remote controlled
Right.
Aircrafts.
Yeah.
That's kind of a specialty use site that we inherited when we acquired the property. But
Yeah.
I see Larry has his hand up.
Okay.
Okay, Colby, you're gonna hate me here, but that's okay. It's an ever-growing club. The thing that keeps popping into my head here, okay, and Colby, to give you a little background on me, I've been in politics since 1972. So I've been juggling chainsaws for a long time. But right now, I think we've got the cart before the horse. I mean, yes, we have met the whole concept of that we greenlighted to look at a contract, to work up ideas on contracts. But we're just now starting up a stewardship group and a planning group over at Coulter Creek. And I think they need to be able to, sign off on this or review something like this before it even comes over to the board for any sort of approval. Because if the stewards over there jump up and run sideways, then all heck can break loose. And pretty much it'll put a total kibosh on the operation. So that's just, my 2 cents worth. It's gonna be my money, not yours, Alex. I'm not gonna even dip into my volunteer bucks for this. That's gonna, this is coming out of petty cash in my house. But I think we really need to get a little more fleshed out on stewardship plans, master plans and stuff over at Coulter Creek and see what the stakeholders over there have to say.
To agree with Larry.
We certainly could. There are a lot of challenges with what you said. One, we don't officially have a structure that states, that this advisory board has a formal connection to stewardship groups. Doesn't mean you couldn't ask for input from them. And we can certainly facilitate that. The other is the group is met once. They're barely formed at this point, but we can certainly we could run it by them if that is what the board is suggesting. Just putting that out there.
Grady?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, hey, Colby and Alex, I like the presentation. I believe I remember this coming up last year or earlier this year. The few things that I just want to reiterate that, you know, Colby's operation is a temporary structure, temporary setup. And it has been an existing business. It's been, from what I can tell, fairly successful. A lot of the residents in Kitsap were enjoying the paintball fields, but you know, just that it is a temporary setup, and as if they try this and on this new property and it's working well, great. If it's not, then you know, maybe we need to find another location for it. But just, you know, we're talking about this as if, you know, this is going to be something that's going to be permanent structures on the park when we're what it sounds like. But I'd like to reiterate that, you know, it does sound like a temporary setup where they can kind of leave no trace at some point if they needed to on this part of the park.
Oh, I had to raise my hand.
Go ahead, Colby.
Thank you. He brings up actually a great point, just a bullet point for Alex. Also is in the contract, it does state we do actually will pick up everything that actually belonged to us at the end of the contract. And there's also a, I believe it's 2 or 3 year, it's very small term trial period. And inside the contract, Alex has the right inside there to end for any reason at all. It's literally at the bottom of the contract. The director can end it for any reason at all at any given time as well. So even after the trial period, if Alex says, hey, it's not working out, he has the right to end it. Everything is on-site temporary, so we can relocate if needed, kind of thing. Or if it isn't working out, I'm sure Alex would let me know and we can discuss that. But he does have the right to end at any given time for any reason. And there's even a trial period in place. He definitely thought about all that.
Linda?
Personally, I'd really like to see a way, and I don't know that it has to be at the same site, but I would like to see us also accommodate disc golf. I think that, you know, active recreation, I'm not a paintballer and I'm not a disc golfer, but there are people in our community that do both and that care about them both. And I don't know, you know, where there might be alternative locations, but I think that we should ask, Alex and the parks staff to see if they couldn't come up with some recommendations, because I know, you know, both organizations have had some, you know, have lost some of their facilities. And I just think it's an important role of the county to provide locations, appropriate locations for different types of recreation. I primarily like to walk in the woods, but but that is different from others. And I know when I had teenage boys, they liked both these things. And I think that it's important.
Thank you. John?
It seems to me that I remember there is a disc golf course over by the fairgrounds or adjacent to the fairgrounds. There was property set aside, or there is a disc golf course up at Newberry Hill Park above the high school, if I remember correctly, or it was proposed. Then, of course, the Bremerton Parks has theirs at, I can never remember the name of the park, but the one that's just off of Kitsap Way anyway.
NAD Park.
NAD Park. Yeah, I go through it every day. I should remember. Well, not every day, but still. And seems to me that I really hate to see the two of them combined, because I don't think they're anywhere near the same usage group. When you put the disc golf people in there on weekends, when you can't put them in there on weekends when the paintball group is in there. And I know there's a lot of disc golf at NAD Park. It's packed on weekends. So it's just kind of interesting. There's got to be a number of places that it could go otherwise. I mean, the disc golf.
There, just real quick, there are other locations to explore for a disc golf course in the area at this park. Not likely for paintball, I think, because of the type of activity, it's a bit more challenged. But I'm open to taking a look at a joint use area as well as, you know, as a part of the process that's underway that West Sound Disc Golf has been a part of too, you know, exploring disc golf in another area of the park. For the sake of, well, I'll just stop right there because actually it's been really great conversation. Appreciate all the comments from everybody.
So one thing I did notice, well, Colby's offering up $1,000 a month. I don't think if disc golf, does that generate any revenue at all? Or is that just free?
Well, if you hear me. So yeah, disc golf itself is a public activity. It's not a private joint, private public joint, whatever. So it's want to keep it to the public. We are a park stewardship group to help maintain the course for the county. And so it is a 7-day-a-week activity and it stays busy. So NAD Park is way too busy. We need about 5 courses plus in the area for the demand right now. The growth has been exponential in the last 5 years. We are way understaffed for courses. And so with that, there's no revenue generated, but it's a public activity. So it should maintain that way.
Yeah, Sam is correct. We have an agreement in place with West Sound Disc Golf to do the maintenance on the course and the upkeep at the fairgrounds. So we do have a course there, and actually give West Sound props for hosting a really well attended and successful work party recently to do some maintenance and improvements there. They've been a great partner to work with, and yeah, just another level of demand in the community that's, you know, Lisa, back to our conversation yesterday, how do you balance all this out? And so,
Right.
you know, just, it's not a bad place to be. You know, I mean, geez, we're offering places for people to recreate and really have fun and enjoy and rehabilitate and get healthy and, you know, all this stuff. It's good stuff.
So does disc golf require, like, you guys like forests to do that in? Or I always saw disc golf as they have their metal posts and you basically fling a frisbee at the post with a net and it kind of catches the frisbee. But what about the trees? You don't really need trees, do you? Or is that part of the obstacle?
Oh, definitely. We want trees. We want obstacles. Yeah, open field would be boring. So yeah, it's relatively inexpensive to get into it. Don't take 1 or 2 discs to start. You can be anywhere from juniors, kids, to all the way to retired people playing. So it's a great activity. And but yeah, we prefer lots of elevation. That's one of the reasons why that South Square Lake area is so enticing to us right now, is because the elevation change. We don't want something that's flat. The other specialized area that's identified at the Cold Creek Heritage Park is too flat and over by the power lines. So we prefer the South Square Lake area right now.
Okay. Any other questions for these two?
My concerns have been addressed by Kobe. My concerns were more about wildlife and habitat, and if they can raise nets versus having them be stepped on, that would be ideal.
Yeah.
If it's feasible, what do you anchor them to? Are they anchored to trees or do you put in poles? What do you anchor your netting to? So it is lowerable and raisable, I guess is my question.
That is a good question. We do put posts on. We don't anchor the trees. We like trees. We don't want to anchor anything to any trees for sure. But we do put posts in the ground to raise and lower them throughout the property. It'd just be pressure treated into the ground. And I'm thinking if long as I can, I can winch them up. I'm pretty sure. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue for the wildlife at all. If that's, like I said, if it's feasible, I can definitely get that done of raising it versus lowering it. I'm pretty sure it's one of those things I can definitely put that on the list of attempting, and I don't think I'll have an issue with it because they wouldn't have to go very high, probably another 10 feet up in the air versus 10 feet down. So I'm pretty sure that is
Right.
yeah. So that if it's in my power, I will keep everyone happy for sure while on the property, of course. So
Well, it is a park, and
Yeah.
even though it's separate kind of by the road, wildlife still lives there, and
That's right.
that's what people like to see when they're in the woods. And if we can have less impact and still have both, then that's kind of a win-win for everything.
Yes,
I agree. And we did have a silt fence issue just not that long ago in one of the parks, and that was a lower fence that was buried in the ground. So again, anything on the ground that would stop a small animal from passing would be probably not a good thing. A permanent thing, or something that would be there like for the weekends, that even is a migratory thing for any little animal that might want to cross or go through.
Yeah, I can definitely, like I said, I can definitely think of ways to raising it throughout the property. That way, nothing. It would actually eliminate all sorts of issues. So if I would definitely attempt that first for sure and see how it is going. Like I said, it's all on a winch system, so it should be able just to put the cables lower and raise it up higher, and we'll attempt that.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So, Madam Chair, I think that for the sake of maybe
Time.
pulling this to a close tonight, asking the board, are you still in agreement with the previous recommendation from the last time we took a look at this in July of 2021, when that board recommended moving forward towards investigating a contract agreement for the activity, or is there some other level of recommendation? My hope is to go back to the commissioner and give her an update on on how the meeting went and where the advisory board is at. And Larry, you were in that meeting with me too. Please chime in, help me if I'm kind of fumbling over my words and maybe not getting to the point that Commissioner Garrido is looking for.
Okay, I'll go ahead and chime in. Alex, quite honestly, from what we've got here and everything, I haven't heard or seen anything that is going to sell the commissioner on this project, which means, of course, that makes the road to the finish line all uphill on a terrible grade. So, and I honestly, at this, I've had three candy bars and a half of a Dr. Pepper for dinner. So I'm not thinking the best off the cuff, but I can't right off the top of my head come up with something that's gonna make things better in the next couple of weeks here. But I will consider on it. I'll think on it, and I will get my ideas to you. Okay, will that work for you?
No, that's fine. And I actually wasn't looking for a way to win Commissioner Garrido over. I was looking to get a recommendation from the advisory board that she was interested in, that she asked for in that meeting. And so the way I am kind of posing that question to the board is that, has there been any change to the previous recommendation, which from this advisory board, though with different members, was to move forward with contract? And I can take this back to the commissioner, and if she is not in support of it, so be it. But I'm not looking to, change her mind, just looking to meet the type of expectation that she's looking for in terms of information.
Grady?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Grady.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard from Colby and Alex, I think if we are going to move forward towards a recommendation or not, we'll vote on that here. But, from what I see is, there's a revenue generating activity that there's a lot of interest in the public. Colby has sort of a business plan that's been put together and successful. And he's addressing environmental impacts. On top of all of that, he seems to be very flexible with what he's going to try if we're seeing things that aren't necessarily working or weren't thought out before. Then it sounds like he's really open to try anything to make this work. That flexibility is really advantageous in the situation. And on top of that, like I stated earlier, this can all be temporary, and it's kind of in a probationary period for the first couple of years. So it can all go away. And if it doesn't work out, then maybe we try the disc golf, but he's come to us before. We like the idea, and this is just a recommendation. The commissioner doesn't have to go through with it. So I motion to vote.
Can I speak before you motion?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, you can. There's still some other questions, hands raised, but go ahead, Sam. Is that?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, I really recommend keeping it free to the public 7 days a week. And I do plan on sending a conceptual design to the park planner for the January meeting for Coulter Creek.
Great, excellent. Linda?
I think Joanne had started to say something, Joanne, but.
Well, yeah, thank you, Linda. I have no ability to raise my hand I just have a little black thing there. I have no control, which isn't crazy for me, but anyway, my concerns have been addressed I was on the previous, when we all had discussions and concerns about wildlife, because that's what we're protecting, the woods, the environment, and all of that. And if it can happen where they can raise them up instead of dropping them down, I think that if it's not feasible, then maybe I would have a problem with it. But if they can be raised out of the way for wildlife, and so it doesn't just lay there, and then I won't have a problem with trying this out, because it isn't highly demanded. There's very little areas that we have available to them in other parks. And even though I think we need to find another place for disc golf to be too, I don't have a problem with this space for that purpose, in my opinion, after his addressing the raising instead of lowering, because I do have a little problem with you lowering them on the ground for obvious reasons.
And I agree with both Joanne and Grady, and would be more comfortable if it could be raised instead of lowered. But from what we had discussed back in 2021, I think that they've come back addressing our concerns. So I would like to kind of retain our support.
Thank you, Linda. John? You're still muted. Wait. Still muted. There you go.
Not working. Anyway, I was going to say that I'm going to have to leave you. I'm having a bit of a reaction to my chemo. So we'll talk to everybody later. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Bye, John. Good.
Nancy?
Feel better.
I you know, everybody jumped on the bandwagon that, oh yeah, let's raise it instead of lowering it. But I am a little squeamish about that because you raise it and you're blocking bird migration. I don't know. I mean, I would want to do a little bit more investigation on whether it on the ground or whether it's in the air. It is, I'm assuming this is like deer netting, which is very, very strong. Yeah, so that's my concern is I don't know that raising it's the answer.
Okay. My opinion on it is, I was listening to what Larry said about the Coulter Creek master plan. It seems like framework master plan, not the stewards necessarily, but wouldn't that be included in the whole master plan concept? And also, if Colby could raise the netting, that would be a better thing than lowering the netting, in my opinion, too, because even if it was bunched up at the top, so it's not like a big swath where birds would get caught in it, but you know, it would be a bunched up piece of netting that anything could go under and over and around, then I'd be okay with that, I suppose. But yeah, that whole master plan concept of the park in general and what they'd want, because once it's there, but it's removable, so I'm okay with it. It's good. But we should find another disc golf location for sure.
Yeah, with regards to the master planning effort at Coulter Creek, I mean, the one thing, and that did give us a little bit of pause initially. The one thing that helped kind of alleviate some of the concerns is that even back in 2018, 2019, when the management plan at Coulter Creek was moving forward, this was even back then an area that was already targeted for active recreation or potential active recreation. So while paintball wasn't part of the conversation at the time, it would certainly be deemed within that frame or that context of, or that definition of active recreation, and would fit within what was even previously being targeted as a location for it. So yes, it is part of the plan. It is just, it's already being identified as that. It comes down to kind of timing too. And since we already know this is likely going to be proposed as a potential active recreation area, we have this opportunity. How do we blend the two? If that makes sense.
Do I go ahead and make a motion then? I'll make a motion that we proceed with the previous direction of looking at a paintball park in this corner of Square Lake, but we do ask for additional clarification on the potential impacts to birds and wildlife on whether the netting should go up or down. So maybe that's a point of additional discussion.
I second that.
I guess we have to ask all in favor.
Okay, all in favor.
You can't see my hand, but I'm raising it.
Okay.
Yeah, with the caveat that there's more investigation on what's going to happen with the net when it's down.
Mm-hmm. So it's like the motion is passed.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity and the conversation. It was actually really, really good points made. Fantastic questions. Yeah, thank you.
Colby has his hand up.
Colby, you're muted.
Hi. Thank you again for the support and everything. I will investigating on whatever. I'm okay with whatever you guys want. If it wants to go up and just bundled at the top, like Lisa, I believe, said it up top. It wouldn't be very wide up top either. Or if it rests on the ground, whatever's better for. I'm okay doing whatever is better for wildlife, of course. Whatever is feasible also, but at the same time I can do either one. So at this point it's literally whatever is, I guess, the most recommended we can go with.
Hey, Colby, just a thought is maybe obviously outside of this meeting, let's connect. The Parks Department has some connections with wildlife biologists through WDFW and other organizations, and we can have a chat with them about the type of material and how it might be best used to avoid negative impacts to wildlife, whether they be on the ground or flying. And let's get some expert opinion would be my recommendation on how we move this forward. And that would be more than happy to bring it back to the advisory board.
Yeah, I think that would be a great thing, actually. That way we get the expert opinion, and then we have all the details if Commissioner Greedo had any concerns about the netting as well. That way we also know that can move forward as well. I like that. Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we move on to the next part of the agenda? Yeah. Looks like we have the Parks report. Alex?
Yeah, we have a short amount of time left. So I guess maybe rather than do my normal kind of walkthrough and highlight a couple different things in here to talk about, maybe just for the sake of saving some time, just ask the advisory board, based on what was provided in writing, do you have any questions with regards to any of those topics? Otherwise, if not, happy to continue on for the subcommittee reports and the other items. But if you do have questions, please let me know. Happy to answer or provide additional information.
I do not see any questions. Nope, nothing.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move to the subcommittee reports and the 23 budget. Finance and budget. Who is on that committee?
I'm on that committee. We didn't discuss who would actually report out, but we did meet on Monday and discuss the budget. It has already gone through. So, this year we're a little bit playing catch up because there has been so much work involved in staffing up that I think so we were reviewing what was in place. A lot of it was carryover from the previous years. I didn't have any specific questions, but we were not involved in actually forming that. We were just reviewing it with Alex. And I don't know, Alex, if there's more information we should share.
No, you kind of hit it on the head there. There's there's three things I would like to say in this. Okay, well, the first two things is there's really two changes to our 2023 budget in comparison to the 2022 budget. For the most part, it's flat, but there are a couple increases. We did require an increase to our utility bills, and that's kind of across the board: electricity, water, sewer, natural gas, propane, all of that has just through inflation has seen an increase. And so obviously not just our department, but across the county. So we saw an increase in our budget to accommodate the increase in expenditures in those categories. The other item that we did have in our operational budget, which was an ask to the commissioners, was for professional service dollars in the amount of $150,000 to hire a consultant to help lead the PROS plan update effort. And so that did get approved as well. We currently have gone through one cycle actually already of an RFQ for consulting services for the PROS plan. And very unfortunately, we only got one response so far, but we are looking to re-advertise or repost the RFQ in early 2023. We still have a buffer in our timeline for the project and hoping to generate some additional interest so we have a greater pool of applicants to interview and choose from before we hire somebody to help staff move this forward. The other thing, the third thing, and this also dovetails into the CIP plan, which is the next item, and that is the kind of timeline alignment of when we bring these subcommittees together is with regards to when staff is doing the planning efforts is not in alignment right now. I fully recognize that we're definitely behind the 8 ball here. And that is just in all honesty, in large part because of staffing capacity. But moving into 2023, we are setting up a kind of an annual calendar that will have these at the appropriate locations. So the meeting with the subcommittee, for as an example, for the budget development for 2024 will actually happen mid-year. In the June-July timeframe, because our budget submissions are generally due by August for the next calendar year. So obviously it makes sense to have the meeting with the subcommittee and the advisory board to talk about this during the time when we're actually developing it in advance of it being approved. And then it goes to the finance department, they do their magic, and then it goes to the commissioners for final review and approval at the public hearing. The CIP plan is the same way. The CIP plan, and I'll let the members chat about this in a moment, but was approved on November 28th. Had intentions of bringing the proposed CIP plan to the advisory board at our November meeting, which would have been in advance of that public hearing on the 28th. But that's when I got sick and we had to cancel the meeting. So my apologies on that. The CIP plan is also already approved at this point by the commissioners, and in large part as a carry forward from the previous CIP plan that the advisory board saw a year ago. But with that, I will let the subcommittee say some things about that.
That, are you saying the CIP subcommittee or the capital projects?
Yeah, so the capital projects and parks subcommittee is the subcommittee that we pulled together to do the review of the CIP plan.
So Brady?
Yeah, real quick, we reviewed the CIP plan. I think one of the things that Matt and Alex agreed to is we need to get a little bit more detail into the CIP plan. Right now, it's just sort of, it's quantitative, and we have a lot of estimates for what we think the projects will cost from, I think, original data. Things may have changed. So when we get more data what the cost will be. That'll be one point of granularity that we can add to the plan, as well as, I was looking at it to see, is this year, is this when the project starts, when it ends? When is what phase of the project? Is it in the construction phase or the planning phase? So different points of granularity to add to the plan, I think will really help. And that's all, I guess, planned to add to the CIP.
Great, thank you, Grady. Excellent. Okay, next it would be the volunteer handbook update, the community outreach. Who went to that?
This one, from the staff perspective, was led by Sierra Cross, one of our natural resources coordinators, and that team have been working on, or has been working on, updating the volunteer handbook, which is basically the working document that helps guide the various types of volunteer groups that we have supporting the Parks Departments and how they function. She took the draft updates to the subcommittee for feedback, and would love to hear from someone from the subcommittee who participated in that, just to give an update, because honestly, I wasn't part of that.
I'm on that committee, but I did not attend, but I did read the handbook and I was very happy with it. So I didn't, and I couldn't make that meeting, so I missed it. Anybody make that meeting? No.
I know Amy Lawrence was there, but I think she's not with us any longer tonight. Okay.
So maybe we'll hear about that one when Sierra's here next, or?
Yeah, yes. I mean, eventually, once that gets fully reviewed at the staff level, it also needs to be reviewed by the legal department, et cetera, et cetera. It'll come back before the entire advisory board for review and recommendation before we take it to the commissioners for a proposed approval of it.
Great.
Excellent. Yeah, so more to come on that one.
Okay, so we're moving right along. We have 3 minutes, but the reports for district representative, old business. Do we have any old business that we need to discuss? Anyone? No?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Joanne.
Oh, sorry. I can't tell because this thing's crazy. Have you gotten any feedback on the porta potties or eventual one of those new kind of potties that you have for the Olalla boat launch?
So we currently don't have a capital project in place on our CIP for restroom facility at Olalla. I did talk with Brian and maintenance about putting a portalet there, and I believe we've got it budgeted for 2023 during the summer season. But we kind of made the choice not to put one there for the winter season. So in the springtime, April 1st is kind of our official start of our summer or warm season. That's when we would look to install or have a portalet located there.
So is that something, just because the community it's been on Facebook and, people are, because Greg Olson is going to be taking away the one that's been being used on the other property next to it. When he opens his store, that one goes away and there will be no facility at all. And so.
Until, yeah, correct. Until the summer season when I
right.
assume
So are you
park
saying
use
April,
increases.
So April 1st is when you would put one in, or when you consider putting one in?
No, that's when we would put one in. That's when we officially open our park restrooms turn water lines back on, and at the parks where we put portalets, that's when we have them installed. So we're just kind of adding this one into the mix.
So if I was asked if there's going to be one put in by the Parks Department, I could say yes, April 1st.
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. That's wonderful. Yay!
Excellent. Yay.
And we've had some communication online about that, and that people need to be responsible and be mindful of the area, as far as graffiti and vandalism and anything that goes on in most of the parks, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joanne. That's good news. Okay.
That's great news.
Old business, any new business?
I just have a report from the Port Gamble Park stewards. We tried a new meeting format at the last meeting. We've had a lot of new attendees, and it's been somewhat disruptive to being able to get on with business. So we started with a more formal process where public comments at the beginning, have a very strict agenda. People have the whiteboard where they can ask questions, and then we come back at the end of the meeting and answer those questions. And we had a more successful meeting this time, which was good. I think that, we'll probably we may end up with there may be more of a committee of leadership next year. That hasn't been decided, taking a look at the Newberry Park bylaws and how they operate, and trying to figure out how to move forward. It's been a fairly informal but very positive process for a long time, and it's been a bit challenging to keep up with the amount of work that needs to happen when the meetings have been tougher. So, but had a good work party. North Kitsap Trails Association this time kind of took a leadership role on recruitment for a volunteer event. Some of the more recent work parties had gotten very small, which is worrisome when you have a 3,500 acre park to maintain. And this last one reached out to community partners and got it posted at GPC and REI and other means, and had about 39 people show up, where there were a couple work parties that were just down to a few people. Part of that is that the Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance is working so hard on the ride park progress that those volunteers are focusing on that, which is they have been, and lots of other people have participated in volunteer work parties. The ride park is anticipated to be, I believe, 90% done there, thinking in March, and hoping to have a grand opening. Goal is May 6th. Also wearing two hats, OPG Radiant did get their comments back for the road to the ride park from the county DCD. That permit, I think, was applied for just prior to probably the Stottlemyre parking permit for within the park. So that does mean that those changes are going to be made, and we'll get back down, submitted back to the county in probably in January. So hopefully the goal is now on track for trying to get that road to the ride park built next year. So those are just the highlights from that meeting.
Excellent. Thank you, Linda. Any other new business? Okay, well, it looks like we are at our closing time, and I guess if there's no other further comments, it's time for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
There we have it. Okay.
Thank you for running it, Lisa.
You're welcome, Joanne. My pleasure.
Good
night. Have a great night and happy
Thanks,
holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy
yes.
holidays. All right. Bye.
Bye.